Welcome, welcome. It is episode number 3. Yay! So welcome to Lifing with Lolo. This is a holistic vlog and we talk about all things health. So we talk about our physical bodies, we talk about our spiritual life, and then we also talk about the mental, what's going on in our minds. And so today I wanted to talk a little bit about, yes, the mental and the mental struggles and the mental mess that we kind of go through on a day-to-day basis. And this is a very important topic. I think this is something that a lot of people struggle with on a regular, learning how to basically mind management and what that really looks like on a practical level and what that can look like day to day. So this is what the topic is going to be today. I probably won't be with you very long today, but I just wanted to really get into that kind of a conversation. So yeah, how are you today? How are you feeling, right? Like, has anyone really even asked you that kind of a question lately, or people tend to sometimes ask, but they're not actually waiting to listen, right? And I think this is another thing that people are kind of missing these days is everyone wants to say something. They don't want to actually sit and listen and really ask those important questions because they're showing that they have listening skills and they're actually listening to what you have to say. So yeah, I'm asking you, how are you feeling today? How is it going? It's just so good to do those kinds of check-ins to see what's going on inside your mind and being self-aware and understanding what's going on inside your mind and your feelings and your emotions and ultimately leading to your behavior. So how am I doing? I guess I'll just ask that question for myself. And I think I'm doing really well. I've come a long, long way. And I think a lot of my stressors and a lot of the anxiety and depression that I went through over the years was due to the stress of handling an undergraduate degree. And my heart goes out to everyone right now who is going through an undergraduate degree or a master's degree or whatever it may be. Being in school has its own kind of pressure. It's a unique kind of pressure because it can feel like you're not doing much, because there's a lot of downtime. But then I find that during midterms or finals or whatever it is, it's that crunch of just that rush of things that need to get done. So it's like resting, but then you're always anticipating the next kind of evaluation that is next. And so this can be very, very stressful for undergraduate students. I know what that's like. I was in undergrad for a very, very long time, so I understand that. And I guess going a little bit into that is how I managed that over the years was learning to just tell myself that this is inevitable. This is what it means to be an undergraduate student, that you are constantly being evaluated. You are constantly being tested. And so bracing myself for that, knowing that, okay, once you've received this material, you went to lecture, you sat in the lecture, you took your notes, knowing that, okay, this is going to be testable material or something like that. I'm going to be evaluated on this. So it's better to be on top of the game and understand the material to some extent so that when the time comes that I have to review, I'm already kind of aware of what's going to be on this exam. And a little bit of a tip for those who are undergrad right now, from someone who's like a veteran, the best thing to do is to, avoid procrastination, is to start your assignments and studying as soon as you possibly can. But another thing is to study smart. And I'm finding that the trick to university is that they throw a whole bunch of information at you. They just dump a whole bunch of information at you. And the trick is that as the student, you are supposed to be making decisions about what information is salient and what is important, what is not important. This is what they're trying to get you to think, is what is going to be testable, what's going to be on the test, all these kinds of things. This is what they want you to think like, because they do it deliberately. They just throw a whole bunch of information at you, and you are supposed to be smart enough to say, this is irrelevant, this doesn't matter, he really focused on this in lecture, so I'm going to study this. It's those critical kind of decision, the critical thinking that they're trying to get you to think, right? To know what is important and what is not, what I'm going to focus on, what I'm not going to focus on. And this is what they're trying to get you to think like in undergrad, is to make those make decisions, really. To be a decision maker is really what it is in undergrad. So having said all that, I hope that helps some undergraduate students about how to study smarter, because again, everything cannot be important. And at some point you need to make a decision because you cannot know it all. It's literally impossible. So this is what you've got to start thinking, that this is important, this is not important. I'm going to focus on this. I'm not going to focus on this. So kudos to you, undergraduate students. I hope that helped you in your studying time, and you can study smarter as you go through your program. So having said all that, I wanted to talk a little bit about your mind, your mental battles that we go through on a day-to-day. And so I just kind of wanted to get into a little bit about that. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, and I went to church on Sunday, and I have the pleasure of being a part of a really great group of believers called the Door Church, and we're located in Ajax, Ontario, Canada, and we're under the leadership of Pastor Shamar Bennett and his wife, Keisha Bennett, and we just have a really lovely bunch of people that love to serve God. And so, Pastor always has amazing sermons that are just so biblically sound, but they also really speak to developing the kind of character that you need as a disciple. And so on Sunday, he was talking about perspective. And so I just wanted to continue the conversation a little bit about that, about what it means to have perspective. And he kind of opened up the sermon saying that a lot of people, they view life through a certain lens. We all do. And some of our lenses are healthy and some of them are unhealthy. Some of them can be through pain or suffering or trauma or rejection or anything like that. And, so we're all kind of looking at life through our own kind of lens or perspective. And so, this is where it gets hard for a lot of people, is because they are processing life through a very damaged lens. So it's kind of like with my glasses today. I decided to wear my glasses. I'm extremely nearsighted. And so, for example, if I were to damage these lenses in my glasses, I wouldn't be able to see very well. And it's the same thing with our spiritual eyes. If we don't have the right spiritual lenses, we're going to look at life very distorted. So it's the same thing with that. So he talked a little bit about some scriptures from the Bible where, the blind man, the blind beggar, and Jesus heals him. And when he's been healed, a little bit about the blind man is that he didn't have physical eyes to see, but he could hear that Jesus could heal him. So he had a spiritual understanding and knowing that even though I can't see physically, I know there's a spiritual knowing that this man, Jesus Christ, could heal me. And so that was beautiful to see that there is a physical way of looking, and then there's their spiritual eyes as well. And as we continue on in that story, I'll link where that is in the Bible because it's escaping me right now. I don't know it off the top of my head, but I'll put it in at the end of this video. The blind man who was healed, he goes to see the Pharisees, and the Pharisees are the religious people of the day. And they're questioning him and saying, "Who healed you?" and all this kind of stuff. And the blind man says, "It was Jesus who healed me." But what was so interesting about the Pharisees is that they were so blinded with their own religious ideations that they couldn't even see that Jesus was the Messiah and that he had done an amazing miracle. So you can see that they were blind. They were spiritually blind to the supernatural nature of Jesus Christ. So this is what was so interesting about this whole sermon. And I just wanted to continue this maybe more on a practical level about what that looks like for us. And so how would I say this? How do we develop a better perspective? How do we develop a better mindset, a better vision with our lives? and where it wants to go. Because once we have the right perspective, that can lead us in the right direction and where we want to go. It gives us that vision as to know where we want to go. So even for myself, how did I develop the right vision? I don't know. Where do I even begin with that? I would say dealing with a lot of hardship in life, dealing with a lot of setbacks and challenges that I had to see my way through. But in order to really get that vision and the right kind of guidance to steer me in the right direction, it really took a lot of soul searching, I would say, dealing with my mental mess. Getting the help that I needed. I had therapists and stuff like that who helped me through things. There was a app called BetterHelp that I utilized a lot, and that was really good. That helped me through some time, and I was glad that it was only a few sessions that I needed. It wasn't like indefinite, but just to help you through those rough patches. I really think getting some help like a therapist is always beneficial. It could never do you any harm. It'll probably do you better. So if you have a rough patch or anything you're going through, get someone who could help you work through some of those issues. They're trained in this area to help you with these mental strongholds.